doesn't seem too bad.
EHOME's turn to ban.
Do they want to go with a Slardar again, even though they have won against it multiple times? I was a little surprised they banned it last game.
Okay, so EHOME do the Slardar this time, and OG go for the AA. So that's a perfect call on the bans.
Well, we were contemplating the Tusk as well.
Yeah. But EHOME have actually not always let up with the Tusk, though. Although I think it'd be really scary to give OG Tusk in Undying. I think
There's a Doom now. There's Doom and Tusk. Honestly, I sort of feel like picking the Tusk is probably the smarter choice, just because, you know, OG can play it as well. Maybe Doom puts OG in a slightly less aggressive playstyle.
There's still Bane too.
Than they used to. There is still a Bane. I don't think they're forced to pick up the Bane that early, especially not when they know that Crit loves to play the Rubik.
Okay, so they go Doom. OG go the same direction and give away Tusk as well.
Okay, so let's see if they have another solution for West Tiny that isn't.
So, Ben, would you call this stubborn or confident?
Bit of both.
I think it's just learning from last game and realizing where the problem is, but I actually think it was more than just the Queen and the AA. I also think the Bounty Hunter was a problem, so are they going to ban all of EHOME's lineup?
Yeah, but that's the problem, right? The entire lineup.
Okay, so Bounty Hunter has gone. That's one. They are going to try and ban the entire lineup.
They found the issue.
I mean, it's consistently been OG's two most common picks. In all of their drafts, they pick often Tiny, even if there's not always an IO there. And I feel like all of their other heroes, they do rotate through 3 or 4 picks pretty easily. So they must really feel that Tiny is the way to go for their team.
I mean, they can also still do Dazzle Huskar.
Reserve time.
That's true.
On top of that, so it's.
Yep. I mean, EHOME are going to run out of bans at some point of OG favoured heroes, I guess.
No Huskar. So now there's Brood.
So no Huskar, no Meepo, there is a Brood.
Brood's the only one that's left, I suppose. Although I think Doom does relatively okay.
There's still a Darkseer in the pool, though, so there's plenty of time to react to it. Granted that when EHOME plays the Tusk, it's often played by 11.
Yeah, and EHOME do have final pick as well, so the Brood is potentially less likely.
They could ban Darkseer and then immediately pick the Brood, though.
Yep. Oh.
I don't
close.
think EHOME will draft it either, though, so they could also just wait till their 4th pick. Maybe even their last.
Yeah. Do you think 11 will play the Tusk and then have CTY play the Doom?
I'm not a huge fan of CTY playing team fighty heroes. I feel like something at least that has more carry potential than Doom would be better for him.
Oh, so this is what a lot of the teams here consider the counter to Tiny. We saw OG banned out last time around as well. They're going for the strategy we saw them play against TDC with yesterday.
Is there anything else that counters OG's lineup aside from a Ancient Apparition, though? I think Ancient Apparition is so good versus all 4 of those heroes.
Necrophos.
In answer to your earlier question, 11 has played Doom and Tusk in Frankfurt.
10 seconds remaining.
So he'll just play both?
At the same time.
Yeah.
And give one of his other guys
5
time off.
seconds remaining.
It's not going to be the easiest lane for an Alchemist, but
Probably
it's
just
probably a safe lane, right?
Reserve time.
They did.
Alchemist is mid. Oh, actually, no. They
Probably
played
mid,
the
right?
Alchemist mid.
With the bounty runes.
When they had this Tiny IO yesterday.
Okay.
When Ranger again.
Dire team back.
So that means CTY win Ranger?
Probably. Possibly a Viper, but
I feel like it's a decent Winter Wyvern game for OG, but obviously they have their 2 typical supports.
10 seconds remaining.
Well, maybe not.
might be an Earthshaker.
5
It's going to be a Moon hero.
remaining.
Night Stalker is still in the pool. Played it very good. His roaming last game was excellent. It really put him in a good spot.
Do you think Night Stalker is that good up against Doom, Tusk, and Viper?
Well, it's been banned anyway.
Dire team pick.
So now what? Nyx, maybe? Nyx Beastmaster Shaker?
Beastmaster. I really they went for the Earthshaker. Stop.
EHOME's turn to
You
pick.
took yourself out of it, Jacob.
I really did. Like I felt like the Beastmaster actually made a ton of sense here.
Yeah, it would.
That would have made me a bit happier.
I like Earthshaker because it's a little bit better early. It doesn't need as much farm.
Okay, the Treant is back again. Successful earlier. Let's see whether it's successful again. OG versus EHOME, game 2.
That's right, game 2 is here, OG versus EHOME. Game number 1, very one-sided to EHOME's favor, and they've got a lot of specialty in the Treant Protector, but Blitz, can OG actually pull out a game 2 with the same sort of lineup?
One key element has changed this time around, which is that they picked up the Alchemist. And we saw how they ran it yesterday, where the Alchemist actually just gave the Tiny a very early Aghanim Scepter, and they sort of made Miracle less of the focus of their team, and they put a lot of the pressure on the No-Tail, and I like that they did that. It kind of speaks to them that they trust No-Tail as a core. A lot of people have been talking, okay, well, Miracle's the star on this team, but I think that's a lot of discredit to No-Tail, who, for me personally, kind of feels almost like the leader, or at least the face of this group for me.
Do you think there's going to be enough time, though, as EHOME have a very aggressive lineup? They picked up, Tusk Doom, which is a big 1-2 opening for EHOME. It feels like a draft win just from that, but now they have aggressive heroes such as the Viper, all that early game presence, the Treant Protector, as we said earlier, a Lanham specialty. It feels like OG are going to have a lot of pressure on them early. That's right, the horn is blown. Game number 2 of EHOME and OG is here. EHOME 1 game up. OG starting things off with an early excursion into the enemy jungle.
Yeah, they might actually just catch out CTY here, playing a completely different hero in the Wind Ranger. He's going to spot the Earthshaker.
He gets a little bit too close. Moon Meander looking for that Fissure block. Doesn't quite see the opportunity. He's now got No-Tail here as well, but he's not going to be able to go for it. Rest of EHOME, well, some of them start rotating over, Kaka and Treant Protector, but I doubt they're going to try and contest this rune. Much better for them just to go to secure that top bounty rune.
Yeah, the awkward part here is that oftentimes you want the Wisp to be able to get this, but Miracle playing the Alchemist, there's almost no reason not to give it to him. And that's why they don't go for the kill. If Miracle had leveled up his stun, you Fissure, you toss the Wisp onto the Wind Ranger, maybe you get that kill. But if it doesn't work, it's so disastrous.
So he'll start out with a clean 625 extra gold after the poor man's shield start. Miracle will pick up an almost immediate bottle, start ferrying it over to himself. Meanwhile, on the side of EHOME, we've got Kaka on the Doom. Heading up to that top lane, he's going to be spending a lot of time on the enemy jungle, it looks like, as Tusk is going to be the actual laner for EHOME in this off lane.
Yeah, this is a lot more different than what we expect, because Kaka is their 4-position player. So a little bit of change of pace for them this game.
Miracle already feeling a lot of pressure from this Viper, while Kaka runs into the combo of fly and crit. Managed to get a early mud golem though, and that's pretty important. Being able to spam out those hurl boulders, free mana cost. How much help? Well, they're still trying to go on a Kaka here, but he will be able to easily survive. Now the turnaround comes as No-Tail going to be blocked out, but they get the first blood onto the Doom. Doomlings come out though, and that'll ensure a turnaround kill, and maybe even more. They snowball up, trying to go for crit. Another shard comes in. Crit very low, but they can't quite get the range. And Old 11, he's got to back away from Fly. Decay up in 5 more seconds, but then rip. No, healing cell.
The real Doom has joined his Doomlings.
No, Kaka's going to be able to join the rest of them, but Fly, he's more than tanky enough to live through this, and he will challenge the Doom as best as possible and create more space for No-Tail.
I don't know if I've seen this, when the Doom respawns with his Doomling still available. If you die again, do you just keep spawning him over and over?
He could have an army of Doomlings at this rate. But he doesn't want to suicide again. He's right now trying to use these little Doomlings in order to get some CS. And Fly is just sitting on the front lines here, challenging these 2 different heroes. Another shard comes out. He's going to be blocked down. He does have the rip as well as crit coming in. It looks like they will be able to fight this one as Fly. He knows so well that he can drop incredibly low, but thanks to the decay stacks as well as the mango and then soul rip on himself, he will be able to survive. Double avalanche, the snowball goes out, but Kaka is tossed back. They bring him into the snowball, now trying to get away, but they get the kill again. More Doomlings cut out. That this time around, Old 11 doesn't really have the opportunity to set up a turnaround kill.
Yeah, still a lot of pressure being put on this top lane. They're not really getting a lot of CS out of this, and this is going to make it so that CTY and this mid Viper, they're going to lead the charts when it comes to net worth. Although they are behind the Alchemist, but that's expected at this point.
He just picked up his 2nd bounty rune, so things going quite well for him. Moon Meander doesn't really care about the Train Protector's right clicks if he can actually get in range for experience on some of these creeps dying. He does have his Soul Ring as soon as he actually gets back and buys the recipe.
And this Doom is going to switch jungles now. Switch gears a little bit. I think if they had been able to get another rebuttal kill at top, he would have it would have been okay, but after that second death without really anything, you put some pressure on that top lane, you were able to grab a kill. That's an okay amount of
Miracle,
benefit.
he just challenged Old Chicken there. Right-clicked him once, but the combination of slows made him not very quick to retreat. He will bottle up some more, but it seems like he needs some help. What do you think the reasoning is for that unstable concoction choice? Just some added protection to make sure the Viper can't dive him?
I think it's more because you need at least one level so that the Viper doesn't chase, and if somebody comes to gank you, or gank for you, it'll help quite a bit. Because Viper is a hero that you want to pressure early on. Like the corrosive skin, later on as the game goes on and you've got more HP, it's going to be a lot more annoying. But at the early stages of the game, you can deal with it quite easily with just a little bit of burst damage.
Fly is going to look towards that 4-minute rune, already starting off with some decays onto Old 11. He will have the backup of the rest of his teammates, and that's why Fly will...
Oh, the Doom from behind, though.
But Crit, oh, he's going to be locked in by the Ice Shard. That gets the tether away. Crit barely keeps himself alive and will bottle up to almost full HP now.
Oh no, Old Chicken, your teammate had a bottle. He just kind of took it as a reflex, I think.
At least they kept Miracle from getting another bounty rune. He was forced to take a haste.
He was forced to take a haste? What a ridiculous
The life
statement.
of an alchemist.
I only got a haste rune out of this, guys.
Top lane, Old 11's gonna be caught. He does have Snowball. Crit's pretty low. He dodges the avalanche, but it's gonna be the tether slow that keeps him at bay, unable to really chase down Crit effectively unless, oh, barely gets that kill. Just before he has to die to Tiny, but at least he gets the exchange. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, they caught Moon Meander. CTY comes over and lands the power shot.
Yeah, they're still doing a good job of getting trades, and most importantly for OG, they are punishing the offlaner.
Miracle, turn around here before he gets his level 6. Just that one stun. It looks like it's gonna be enough. Miracle dove all the way in, and even the Ice Shards comes out from Old 11 to make sure there's no escape for this Alchemist.
Yeah, I think they still would have gotten that kill, but it was starting to get a little bit more dangerous with Old Chicken taking quite a bit of damage.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And now briefly passes up the Alchemist for the highest net worth. But it is an Alchemist. He still has a lot of different ways back into this game.
Well,
unfortunately for him, he's got no stacks though.
Yeah, I was just about to say those have actually been blocked away, so we won't see that that early 12 to 14-minute radiance at this point. You're gonna try and dual lane it up against Viper now, especially with Miracle still not level 6 and Old Chicken having that Viper strike. He could very easily solo kill Miracle once again.
I think they're definitely worried about that. Miracle is about to hit 6 though, and he should be okay. This top lane, the Doom continues to try to pressure.
Bonham going for that top bounty rune. What's it gonna be? Picking it up. They already get the heal out in Lonham. Looks like OG is gonna be forced out. Meanwhile, the bottom rune is gonna be a double damage. Miracle's gonna run into CTY. Just picks that one up. But with the Chemical Rage, no reason for CTY to try and challenge.
Yeah, I think that was the right decision to not even bother using it. Old Chicken is quite low as well. Might decide to just ferry himself a salve.
Oh, Moon Meander, shackle shot in the bottom lane. Moon Meander's gonna be dying low and more hit CTY. Long range shot and we'll be able to get it.
Really good pickup there. Moon Meander maybe should have played a little bit more far back. He knows that CTY had the DD rune there. There was no surprise. But gives up a solo kill anyways. And that's a lot of XP going the way of CTY. He's almost got as much as pretty much a standard mid-core.
Yeah, he really wasn't farming bad with that early soul ring. He was level 5.5, but giving yet another kill to CTY. And we saw how that went for EHOME in game number 1. CTY just able to snowball the game to an early victory.
Wind Ranger's a much more different hero though than the Queen of Pain. It's not as mobile. You can't really play that style where you just sit back, hit and run, hit and run. With the Wind Ranger, I almost feel like you have to commit a little bit more because of the focus fire. And so it's really imperative that he gets as much early game farm as he possibly can, just to beef himself up.
Blocked out CTY, but no rotations. It's a big problem for OG. They really don't have good rotational power. They're okay at some of these 5-man team fights, but ganking is not going to be their biggest strength, at least not until No-Tail perhaps picks up his Blink Dagger, or maybe even just the relocate for crit. We'll see.
I feel like the relocate is the bigger one in that. They can set up fights with the Tombstone like they did in the last game. They just can't afford to really let this CTY Wind Ranger get out of control like it did in the first game. A player like CTY heavily relies on feeling comfortable, so that even if he dies, he knows that he's far enough ahead that he's not really risking anything. That the game is still in his control, in his favor. We haven't seen him pressured almost all throughout this tournament, and we've seen what he can do off of that. He continues to just farm. He's such a lane dominator, and his ability to get solo kills on offlaners makes him such a dangerous threat in the mid game.
Old Chicken forces out another Chemical Rage from Miracle. He's still got plenty of battle charges, though, on him. Starts coming forward, does manage to get the extra slow. They also have Old 11 here for the extra burst damage, but the turnaround is OG. Pop the Tombstone.
Oh, he dodges
out. Nice snowball save with the unstable Concoction, unable to finish off Lanham. It's going to be Fly who may be dying. Soul rips himself, keeps himself alive. Old 11 has a lot of zombies out. Looks like they will be able to get that one kill shackle shot onto Moon Meander right in front of the tier 1 tower, but Old Chicken is low. The Fisher brings him low, and now Miracle's going to be in the going to the next target. Old 11, he does still have mana, though, has a snowball ready to go, but no opportunity for a turnaround. Moon Meander going for the TP out. Old 11 sees him. Snowball will stop that TP. It looks like Moon Meander will die as CTY catches up. The body blocks are easily going to ensure kill. But a nice fight for OG. It seems like Kaka coming in. Block out. Oh, No-Tail. This is going to be an opportunity for CTY.
Oh, that shackle!
Get the shackle shot right onto the range creep. Soul
oh, that toss!
Toss forward. Old 11. He gets set up and tossed in. Miracle claims that one.
I thought the shackle was going to be enough, but not enough mana for that power shot. What a play by No-Tail, though.
7-6, EHOME marching even more heroes into this middle lane, but OG are going to back off. They're very happy with the way these exchanges are going. If they're even, it's just pushing the game in a static way later and later where No-Tail can be a bigger factor.
Yeah, I thought he was definitely going to be dead, but they queued that up so well. You notice that the Alchemist already had the charge running because he anticipated it for the Tiny.
So he's going to be going for that medallion build with the maxed out unstable Concoction secondary. This will actually be very good versus Viper, who, as you were pointing out, his magic resistance is one of his key strengths. But if you can bring some heavy damage, physical damage troops, maybe you can bring him down fast. They're going to try and go onto him now. He's trying to threaten Fly and will be taken out by the Toss Ice Shards. No response from OG.
Yeah, I think Fly is quite surprised that he was able to die there, but EHOME have so many different ranged nukes to be able to catch him out. This time, it does land. They should be able to get this mid tower. I don't know if OG want to give this up. They don't have the relocate available.
Oh, the block. Oh, didn't quite get it, but still, No-Tail's going to be able to get the combination on the two of them. Unstable Concoction. Old 11 does go down. Moon makes sure with the Echo Slam that it's a quick kill. And the rest of OG thinking about, yeah, they're going to just back out. The tier 1 tower deny is enough for them, I think, at this point in time. They're not letting EHOME take the easy ground. Not giving away too many objectives early on, still creating enough space for both their Alchemist and their Tiny to get some farm.
Yeah, and we've seen what Miracle was able to do in the previous game that he played Alchemist. Most likely going to give up the Aghanim Scepter to the Tiny as one of his first major pickups. And that's so strong. If No-Tail can just kind of transition into that one position core, go for a later game item coupled with the fact that he doesn't have to buy his own Ags, makes him quite scary. And surprisingly enough, he's jumped to second in net worth charts. He's only 200 behind an Alchemist that has Grievel's Greed.
We'll see how long that lasts, though. As EHOME going to go for a 3-man smoke, and they will invade jungle, but if they don't find anybody there, I'm sure they're going to look towards that top lane.
The Doom is quite far behind, too, Kat. This is a hero that we don't normally anticipate being this low in net worth, but he's constantly been trying to look for opportunities for his team, and that's okay because normally Doom can catch up, but there's only so much that you can catch up. You want to eventually spare some time to be able to farm and catch up in gold. You don't want to revert yourself to a pure 4 position with this hero.
Oh, they're going to go for the relocate in bottom lane. Lanham didn't stand a chance. Good lord. He had his ultimate, but look at top lane. EHOME may still go for the dive on the relocate back.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Wiz comes back by himself. Kaka's on the other side. Will run into him now and doesn't pop the Doom in time. Crit actually gets away with the tether.
Dire's top tower is
And a
under
clean
attack.
escape for OG after a pick off on the bottom lane. Now taking that tier 1 tower. EHOME will respond. No. I thought they were going to push out that top lane by themselves, but they're actually going to TP in. Not wanting to give up any ground to OG. Old Chicken putting himself in the front lines. He knows that he's more than taking enough to deal with the combination from No Tail, especially with the living armor. Shackle shot onto the two of them, but there's the interrupt from Moon Meander with a two-man Fisher. They're still going to be able to get some damage onto No Tail. There is no relocate to be able to save him. If No Tail gets blocked out, healthily enough, Snowball comes in. They go straight into No Tail, trying to lock him down. They throw out the Doom onto the Earthshaker, preventing that turnaround, but the Undying Tombstone, it's going to be doing so much work against EHOME as they now are forced to retreat. OG are going to look for those pickoffs. There's still some healthy members here. Old Chicken, he's going to be the first target. Moon Meander, his Doom is almost spread out here. He's going to be able to get off of Fisher, looking for more. Shackle shot gets laid out in No Tail. Crit's keeping him alive, though, and EHOME won't be able to go for that kill, at least not right away. CTY, he needs to help out his side heroes. Echo Slam, Old 11 does get hit by that stun. Can manage to get off the Snowball, dodging the toss. He'll get a little damage onto the Earthshaker, but will stunned up by the unstable concoction. He's still alive somehow, but at least he ensured a turnaround kill. Kaka's next up. No Tail keeps on going for him. Combination, more than enough is the Doom. Low on net worth, had no HP. And OG win yet another fight.
And Crit did such a good job of keeping everybody alive, doesn't stick himself on just No Tail, constantly rotating around. And this is what makes IO such an annoying hero. They're gonna go for more though.
CTY! He did not expect No Tail was stalking him the whole way through. 9-12 now as the items come rolling in for OG.
No Tail might have stayed a little bit too long, but Crit's right here.
He doesn't have the mana for a relocate, but the movement speed is enough to stay ahead of Old Chicken. And now with the refill on the bottle, I'll actually heal No Tail up a decent amount. They've got an earn on Crit. They've got Solar Crest now complete for Miracle with the maxed out unstable concoction. That is a gigantic physical damage nuke, especially for some of these heroes that are only sitting at 2 or 3 armor.
And this Viper cap was never meant to be this far behind. 14 minutes in, still doesn't have the mech, despite having a relatively easy hero to lane against. And Old Chicken, they need that mech. If they were able to have that in that bottom engagement, maybe they don't even lose anybody and they can push the issue. Because a lot of EHOME's strength in their lineup is the ability to just constantly run at the enemy team. This is not a team that's meant to go for the ultra late game, especially when your Doom has pretty much sacked himself. I think they need a little bit more farm to be able to group up again, though. You don't want to fight without that mech, but EHOME.
They're going to try it anyway. EHOME starts centering up. Perhaps for the quick surprise pickoff. Fly, he may be the target. Spotted out. Old 11, though. Unable to get the stun in time. Now sets out a ward. But OG have full information. We'll bring all 5 heroes up to this top lane. Are they giving up this tier 1 tower, though? Seems like it. Time is fine. As long as they don't throw any team fights right now, they are holding a pretty healthy lead and will throw even healthier with the Alchemist.
They don't have a smoke or anything like that. And they might just decide to push in the mid a little bit just because of how healthy their top tower is. Maybe they think they can go for a trade themselves.
Structures are fortified.
Kaka is going to see Fly coming up the hill to lay down his ward. Fly not opting to throw down the ward right away. Actually throws a little bit more to the right-hand side, hoping to prevent an immediate counter ward, but we'll see. Fly still challenging some of these heroes. Moon Meander will be able to... almost got the block off there.
For now, you just disengage. Again, Old Chicken, he's really close to that mechanism. Absolutely no reason for EHOME to fight before it. He's going to jungle it out. Then maybe they decide to finally get this bottom tier 1 tower with the strength of the mech. Because they need the ability to combat the Tiny's burst damage. And most importantly, they need to be able to outlast Crit's heals. Because this Wisp is doing way too much in this game. In the first game, they were able to lock him down because they had the Queen of Pain, where she was able to blink in, Sonic Wave, hitting both of them, and she was able to just right-click it down. But this time around, Wind Ranger, with the items that she has, just doesn't do quite enough yet.
I feel like we haven't seen a true team fight initiation for EHOME just yet. They do have a pretty powerful combination that doesn't need items. With the Dream Protector and Tusk, they can lead in with Snowball, follow up with the Overgrowth and the Dream Protector. That actually create a lot of space for the rest of EHOME to pick and choose their targets. Old Chicken was pushing out the bottom lane, does complete his mech now. The tier 1 tower is going to go into deny range, and OG have it surrounded.
It's an okay way of initiating, but the problem is that if the Earthshaker decides to use the Fissure, split the rest of your team across, now you don't really have a mechanism to get them across that area. And it just creates a really dangerous fight, because you don't want to snowball 5 heroes in. That gives you the potential for the Echo Slam.
Right.
EHOME just don't have the best ways to start a fight. So oftentimes what you're going to see is they're just going to outlast their opponents because they have such tanky cores with the Treant. But when it comes out to flat-out initiation, it's not the easiest for them. So they're going to go for the smoke. This one has to work out. But is the Tiny Wisp really the target that you want to go for?
Start pinging old 11. Unfortunately, his smoke got popped. Doesn't look like the smoke's going to result in anything, or maybe it'll result in a trap. OG, they have a big secret weapon now with this Blink Dagger on Moonmeander.
Yeah, we're going to wait for the opportunities for Moon. He is level 9 right now. That's, at this phase, enough to deal damage. EHOME look like they want to put on pressure, but they don't really have the best ways, as we talked about, to start this fight.
No Tail going for the build once again, so this should mean now that Miracle has both Solar Crest and Blink Dagger, that's all the kind of items you need in the early game, at least for this kind of Alchemist. He can start building towards the Aghanim Scepter so they can have a completed Butterfly and Ags around the same time for a Tiny.
OG's going to go for a smoke. You don't need the Tiny Wisp to go for this. They're much better off just continuing to farm. No Tail's going to go for the same build as he did in the last one.
Old 11, he's going to run back into this one. Snowball laid out, actually going through to Moonmeander. He's going to try and get the punch, but the Unstable Concoction is there first.
Wisp relocate.
Chain stunned up in. Fly's going to be the next target, but already the Tusk is down. And now with the Wisp relocated in, they're going to be able to go on to Lanham. Good overgrowth factor, and Fly will be taken out with a Doom onto No Tail. They're actually controlling him pretty decently, but Crit, no! He gets the relocate back out in time. EHOME just shy of finishing him off.
That could have done so much. They were just a little bit too split in their focus. No Tail was doomed up, I believe, and they decide to right-click him a few times and then switch targets, but Crit, they have to know that the relocate is about to bring him out. The Tiny is not the target to go for there.
Yeah, EHOME really not on the same page. If they managed to kill that Wisp, that would have been a stranded Tiny. And probably a big turnaround team fight for EHOME. Still though, their item progression is looking all right. All their cores are decent in effort. It's just that Tiny and Alchemist who are so far ahead.
Yeah, if they win that fight, they're right by the Roche pit. They've got the Aghanims completed on the Wind Ranger. It's not unreasonable to say that they could have just made their way into the pit. But without those two dead, almost no reason to risk it. The good news for EHOME, though, is that the Alchemist still isn't overwhelmingly farmed like we normally see at this phase.
Minus now for the Doom. So Kaka's going to make up for that lack of farm and even lack of levels that he's had on this 4th-position Doom by picking up the Midas. I can't say I'm terribly surprised.
No, not yet. And No Tail now has the Butterfly. I really like this pickup. A lot of the damage that EHOME has, Cap, is just single physical damage that's centered on one hero. The Viper and the Wind Ranger, your two cores that are really going to deal damage. And with this Butterfly, and on top of that, they've got the Medallion on the Alchemist.
You're not really going to kill.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to get the BKB or the MKB completed quite fast on EHOME, and their burst magic damage isn't even quite there.
Yeah, really, all they have to do is complete the Aghanim Scepter on Miracle, pass it over to the Tiny, and then they're pretty much ready to take an Aegis and push uphill.
They're about to do that right now. He just needs one more component of this. And this is such a smart strategy by OG. They recognize that a lot of EHOME's damage is either physical or pure in the Doom. So just grab as much evasion as you possibly can to kind of counter out the Wind Ranger's Ags first.
Movement around the map, OG. Farming pretty efficiently. EHOME are actually a bit more grouped up. Perhaps scared of lack of vision on their side. OG have plenty of both aggressive and defensive vision, really centering around both the Roshan pit and the top rune area.
All right, here's that Aghanim Scepter. This was the big item pickup that we were going to wait for. And with the Butterfly, I think this is about OG's time. They don't have to wait for any more items if you look at their inventories. This is so crucial for them. They're going to go for the smoke.
And now we have a Tiny whose net worth is almost double the Wind Rangers and is over double the Vipers. Thanks to that Aghanim Scepter being passed over to him, they immediately smoke up and look for the fight, knowing that they should be able to easily win it.
They don't have a CTY for this one.
They're gonna come downhill. This is gonna be real bad. Old Chicken, he's gonna be the first target up in the
Swing
air,
away.
back down. No Tail's just beating him to a pulp. He's already got a monster kill streak, and he is a monster on the front lines. Moon Meander stuns up both 11. They'll look for more now. Toss forward. Kaka, he's gonna be the next target. Almost has the Fisher ready to go, but they turn around as they found Laughton. They caught him out with the counter ward and ward combination. Take 3 and make it a Roshan as well.
With the way that OG have itemized, and the Tiny being this strong, I don't actually think there's a way for EHOME to fight into them. Like, this game is starting to kind of get out of hand at just 22 minutes in. Completely made the right decision. Backs against the wall with 1 game left to go. They decide to make No Tail the core.
The real hard part for EHOME at this point in time, if you can fight OG, are you going to be able to split push them? And it looks like their heroes just really aren't meant for that. The Wind Ranger is the best. Power shot, now with the Blink Dagger, can push aggressively, but the rest of EHOME, heroes like Viper and Doom, aren't going to be able to provide the same kind of pressure on the side lanes.
It's under attack.
Look how much damage the Tiny does right now. So much evasion on him, and he's got the Wisp.
You think that Living Armor and Glyph are going to mean anything? No Tail. He'll just keep on going. He's got Old Chicken now. The Fisher actually separates the two of them, but he's still reaching over that Fisher to be able to get the kill. The Snowball doesn't quite save the Viper, and Old 11, he's got to limp himself away. The zombies are all on top of him. Same goes for Kaka, but OG are just focusing on objectives at this point in time. Kaka, whoa, the toss! Hello, Fly jumps a long way past the tier 2 tower, but Laughton, he's still gonna be the target of No Tail. Coming forward is Crit, and managed to get up enough damage. CTY now flying zombie into the air. Fly backs back down, and Soul Rip will be able to keep him alive until a tomb comes out. Moon Meander makes sure to get the deny on that one. Doom is punished for his positioning though, as OG can continue deep into the EHOME base. Nice Snowball dodging the unstable concoction, but it doesn't really mean much. Moon Meander trapped against that tier 3 tower, managed to get off the Fisher, gets the aggro off of him, and CTY, he can't stop the TP out. OG, they dive fearlessly into EHOME space and walk away with plenty of kills.
Oh, and the Viper's gonna go in here.
He could actually challenge No Tail with Crit backing him up. They did get an amazing action on Miracle. Barely gets off the unstable concoction, turns around onto CTY. No Tail, he dropped low enough, but they can't keep up with him. Miracle's gonna be the target instead, as Old Chicken keeps him in place as Shackle Shot to ensure that Miracle will in fact go down, but it's No Tail's Tiny, who's worth 17,000 net worth, and had that Aegis. That was the critical kill that EHOME desperately needed.
The weird part about that engagement is that most of it's centered around their tier 4 towers, when tier 2s weren't even taken out quite yet. And I felt so bad for Fly. Every single time he was trying to run away, he's like, I don't want to do this anymore, No Tail.
No Tail playing games with his long-term teammates. That Moon Shard is now complete. No Tail has insane attack speed for a 25-minute Tiny.
No, you can't survive against him anymore. The Viper might be the tankiest hero on EHOME, but we've seen it only takes about 4 or 5 swings for him to go down, even with the mech popped.
Yeah.
I think the net worth disadvantage, it's starting to boil over a little bit too hot for EHOME, as they don't really have the best ways to get back. This Tusk doesn't really add a lot of value. The Snowball as a counter initiation tool just seems to extend it by a little bit before they die anyways. The Alchemist is able to chase in as far as the Tiny goes, just because he's so tanky with that Chemical Rage and the Solar Crest of his own. And the Vladimir's is about to be completed now
Jesus,
too.
he's being chased down. The Wind Run wasn't even enough. No Tail, he was able to get that Butterfly Flutter effect popped. Unfortunately, couldn't stay on CTY. Wind Run helped protect him, threw it into the trees, and TP'd away.
Any other game, CTY would have been hailed as a star. He could have been the one to carry them. He's 5-1-2, or 5-1-3, excuse me, but the Tiny just has so much with that forged Aghanims.
Is he going Maelstrom, or is this Desolator just for cheap damage? Seems MKB is out of the question. BKB, perhaps?
I think Maelstrom is okay because there's no BKBs on the side of OG quite yet. No Tail still has the axe. He's gonna try to
Got
trap
the separation. The Fisher onto Old Chicken. Immediately the target. Old Chicken's gonna be able to get a lot of slow. No Tail is shackled up to a range creep, but he's already down to half HP, but he still has that Aegis to work with, and he's clean through Old 11, and he'll get Old Chicken as well. The old people are going down, and now an Echo Slam. Moon Meander comes in for the side, catches another 2, and even gets the Fisher onto CTY, but OG will turn to take that tier 2 tower, and Alchemist, who's doomed away, doesn't even care. He out-regens the damage from EHOME, and OG have plenty of sustain to keep marching forward into the EHOME base.
There's just too many core heroes for the Doom to focus down. And what a setup by Moon Meander, being able to isolate 2 heroes out by himself, the other 2 desperately trying to climb that wall, and as soon as they do, they get Echo Slammed back into place.
Shot, but again, they have this Aegis. There's just no way they can catch him. Miracle does stun himself with the unstable concoction, and maybe EHOME. Maybe they can catch somebody on the way out. The Doom still needs another 7 seconds, and even then, he doesn't have his ultimate. So EHOME are forced to watch as OG bounce back to their base and will collect their very many items awaiting them.
The Tiny now has more net worth than both the Viper and the Wind Ranger combined. Just buys a fully completed, actually not quite yet. He just buys the Reaver. Thought he was gonna go for the AC for a second.
The Aegis is now popped, but OG, they could just wait out the next one, which is in 4.5 minutes. This is probably the chance for EHOME to start playing aggressive in these next 3 to 4 minutes. Perhaps try and smoke up, go for a pick-off. They can't afford to let just OG control this game, as obviously that Alchemist will always be able to provide so much more net worth than EHOME could ever hope to farm.
And once you start to see the point where he can start to give his Undying, for example, the Aghanim Scepter, nobody from EHOME is very tanky, and not anymore anyways, and once you start to take away an Ogre Club and HP away from them every single time, it's gonna get real rough.
Looks like our Alchemist is gonna be going, what, Halberd next? Some more tankiness?
Yeah, you can just decide to continue to build utility. I see no issues with that right now.
And then go the Aghanims afterwards, perhaps for the Undying. Kind of that mixed build. Get some items of your own, go in Ags, more items, back to another Ags.
I think that's perfectly fine right now. I doubt OG's even thinking about the next set of items right now. I'm pretty sure they're already considering game 3. They're so far ahead in this game number 2.
Almost 20,000 gold lead by 30 minutes.
This is like the most casually dominant performance I've seen out of No Tail.
Will have his Satanic here quite soon.
They just can't really stop him. All they're waiting for right now, the passiveness that you see out of OG is just because they know that they can get rid of these tier 2 towers uncontested. But there's not a whole lot of reasons for them to go for the high ground push again without the Aegis. If they were to do that, that would be EHOME's opportunity to finally get back into this game.
They win a team fight, they get some control, push out, maybe take a Roshan for themselves. There's plenty of openings for EHOME to make a comeback if OG get a little careless, and that's why they're playing it very safe. Got a Glimmer Cape now for the Wisp. Fly has a 4-staff, and we saw that one earlier. Kaka gonna be the target here is No Tail. They're just trying to run down this Doom. He does have to back up the rest of his team, and No Tail has to be careful now. Crit, he pops a Glimmer Cape, ready to go with the relocate, but still, No Tail, even if he's doomed up, he's right-clicking for so much damage. They do get the Shackle Shot on the side.
This might be your best opportunity.
The snowball comes forward, Fly. He's gonna be the target of the focus fire and does end up going down. CTY.
They have to kill No Tail before this Doom ends.
Catch No Tail. The Wisp flies back. He needs to desperately try and save No Tail. He comes with the relocate in and will help No Tail with the tether, but he's locked in by the fissure, and another great Shackle Shot as well. EHOME, they're gonna try and get out of the situation. Echo Slam farther up, looks like they've caught CTY. They'll get that 1 kill, no chicken. He goes down as well as Miracle's able to catch him with an unstable concoction. And third is the Tusk. EHOME thought they could escape, but no chance. OG commit the buyback on the Wisp, and it seems well worth it as they're on their way to force out a GG from EHOME.
And that was a relatively quick one. Fantastic positioning by Fly. We haven't talked about him all game, but that Tombstone was the nail in the coffin for EHOME. He gets it on the high ground. So many zombies spawn out. Zero way for them to recover that fight at that point.
So a fairly dominant game number 1 for EHOME. But OG strike back in game 2, and we will have the full series just to be expected from 2 top-tier caliber teams like EHOME and OG. We'll see you guys in game number 3, but first, our analysts have to predict who's going to win the whole thing.
We do, yes. Thank you very much, Capitalist.